Sun is the source of energy for all the processes that occurs on the planet Earth. It provides energy in the form of light. Sunlight is a part of electromagnetic radiation, of which on the either side you have ultraviolet and infrared radiation. These radiations vary from wavelength starting from 100 nanometer to 1 millimeter, which means that near ultraviolet rays are from 100 to 400 nanometer. Beyond 700 nanometer is infrared radiations, and we all know that between 400 to 700 nanometer it is the visible light. While we talk about this, let us also have a look at the atmosphere and its composition. Nitrogen being 78%, oxygen being 21% and argon 0.9%, whereas rest of the gases constitutes to about 0.1%. Though being called trace gases, these gases have major influence on the quality of atmosphere around us. Let us have a look at what type of gases they are. Of these 0.1%, 93.5% approximately is CO2, 4.7% neon, 1.3% helium, 0.44% methane, 0.078% nitrous oxide, and 0.01% ozone. Of these gases, 3 of them contribute to global warming, and they are carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide. So when the concentration of these gases goes up in the atmosphere, it is likely to cause global warming. Many a times, people also raise a question whether CO2 is a pollutant. There is no evidence available to that. However, Svante Arrhenius, who discovered CO2, has called CO2 as gas of life because this is the gas which is responsible for life on Earth, especially because it together with water vapors or the water and sunlight is responsible for photosynthesis on the Earth. If we don't have CO2, plant would not be there in existence. There would be no life on Earth, there would be no life in the sea and anywhere on the planet. Most of the human population, including animal life, would vanish. But then, let us also understand how these gases contribute to the global warming. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, also known as UNFCCC, has identified 6 major greenhouse gases, popularly known as GHGs. Though there are many more gases which can cause global warming, these 6 gases are the major contributors. They are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons and sulfur hexafluorides. They have different global warming potential, and because of this global warming potential, they contribute severally but collectively to the global warming. How does it happen? The rays from the cosmos hits the Earth. They have high energy intensity because they are mostly in ultraviolet range. They are radiated back from the Earth. In the process, they lose energy. When they want to exit the Earth's atmosphere, they are in infrared range. So this range is close to 700 nanometers and beyond, and these gases, of which carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide are prominent. They block the wavelengths beyond the infrared range, which is from 700 nanometers onwards. We can give an analogy of a window. If I have a window in my house, which can be analogous to the spectrum, and a spectrum which ranges from ultraviolet to infrared range, and if I have the window of the infrared blocked by these gases, there will be heat in my room, because the infrared rays would not be able to go back. With this analogy, we will be able to understand what role these gases play. And because of these rays not being able to exit and stay back in the atmosphere. the temperature rises. What could we do? There are many indicators of global warming. What would happen if the heat goes up in the atmosphere? The early signs could be start of melting of glaciers, rising sea levels, salinity increase, starting of lowering of soil moisture, changes in leaf and bloom dates, rise in sea surface temperature, some changes in pH of ocean, coral bleaching starts, and the turtle population in some of the river streams start depleting. But if it is a notable change, the melting of glaciers may be faster. But there are certain things which clearly indicates that the global warming is actually in the last stage, and that could be extreme rainfall and drought seasons, endemic disease, extinction of certain species, which could be bird species, animal species. In between we find that certain changes take place. For example, from the last stage to the early stage, there could be some change in rainfall, which could tell us that the global warming is actually happening. If we do a careful analysis of these indicators, we will be able to predict the global warming and its happening. The evidence which are available with us tell us that the temperature has been rising for the last many years, but this has to be understood in totality. The life on Earth, especially human life, doesn't exceed 100 years except in exceptional cases. The average human life is close to 70 years, and this period is too small to understand the glacial and interglacial cycles, which vary from over 4 lakhs to 4.5 lakhs years. This million years and the interglacial period between them actually tell us that global warming and global cooling happens in cycles. Between two interglacial periods, there is almost a difference of 2.5 lakhs years, and between these interglacial periods, there is a glacial period. Between a glacial period, there are minor glacial periods which ranges from 100 years to 400 years. Even if we assume 400 to be a reality for the minor glacial periods and minor warming period, even then it would be beyond human comprehension to understand. And that is where science comes to our rescue. The study of ice core areas, especially of Antarctica, where the scientists have studied the measurement of CO2 in the ice, have helped us in understanding as how to warming has been taking place over the last 1 century. The graphical representation tells us that its concentration of CO2 and the methane levels have gone up drastically in the last 500 years, and more so after the Industrial Revolution. This evidence based on carbon dating has clearly reflected that Industrial Revolution may be one of the reasons for rise in temperature and also rise in the CO2 levels, and subsequently in the greenhouse gases emissions. The greenhouse gases emissions vary for gas to gas. A comparative chart would tell us that taking the reference of CO2 to be 1 or taking the CO2 global warming potential to be the base, the global warming potential of other gases is significantly higher. It varies from CH4 being 21 to N2O being around 310 times, HFC to be almost 1000 times, and finally the SF6 to be almost 23,900 times the global warming potential of CO2. This is also tells us that we have to extremely careful about these gases, because on a comparative scales, 1 ton release of SF6 is equivalent to 23,900 ton of release of carbon dioxide. So if you burn 23,900 tons of coal, that is equivalent to use of 1 ton of SF6, which is mostly used in production of tires, and we may not be aware, but some of our industrial processes thereby may be contributing to the global warming.
Many a times, scientists raise an issue as to whether CO2 and other gases are the only reasons for global warming on this earth? Are there no other external factors? Are there no external reasons for it? Are there no internal reasons on the earth which may be contributing to global warming? Are there no anthropogenic reasons other than the greenhouse gases which may be contributing to global warming? These are pertinent questions. These are significant questions, and they must be answered, and we must answer them in our pursuit of science.
It is said that solar activity causes lot of changes in our atmosphere and may be contributing to climate change. A lot of research needs to be done on that. But Sun has a cycle of 11 to 12 years where the solar activity goes up and decreases, which needs to be understood. The Earth orbit, especially the precession, the Coriolis effect because of the rotation and revolution, and consequently precession of Earth also may be contributing. Scientists at many places have also said that meteorites may be the reason, and of the internal reasons, the volcanic eruptions may be the reason. Even sometimes, the particles due to dust storm or industrial processes may also contribute. Changes that anthropogenic effect have on land use may also be one of the reasons. More research is required on it, but till we do that, let us understand once again that global warming is a reality, but so is the global cooling. The global cooling and global warming would happen once the trigger point is reached, and human activity may be contributing to our faster approach towards that trigger. And that is why we must be careful the way we handle our resources and the way we handle our planet and conserve the various components that are available on it. What do we need to do? We need to adopt certain technologies, certain processes. We need to change our strategy. We need to change our practices, which could be to conserve water, harvest rain, ensure that we reuse our resources including water, and we make certain changes, adjustment in our agriculture systems. We need to be careful about our transport system. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, India is the federation of villages and envisaged the country in which all villages are self-sufficient without being dependent on any other village, which seems the impossibility today. But if we try to make our villages self-sufficient, we would have in turn about the problem of global warming.